I thank you for all being here, and please let me introduce myself. My name is Erwin Rademaker, and I work at the Port of Rotterdam as a Horizon 3 lead. And yesterday it was really funny because I went to Professor Pascal Aspect to congratulate him for the Nobel Prize winning. And as soon as he saw that I was from the Port of Rotterdam, he started to smile, and not smile like smile, but smile from ear to ear. And he asked me, "Well, what are you doing here?" And this is exactly what I'm going to try to explain to you. So I'm still waiting on the slides. Yeah, they're working on it. Ah, okay, all right. Oh yeah, I can do that as well. You know, I can perform a rock song or whatever. So yeah, just waiting on the slides to arrive. I don't know what's happening because I'm going to start with a movie. There you are. Yep. All right. So next.
From the very first beginning, light has guided mankind on its journey on Earth. During the ever-returning nights, it has provided safety and warmth to all of our ancestors. And the flickering light from the countless distanced stars in the sky above us originated most of the world's still unanswered questions. All over the world, ancient civilizations have worshipped the brightest star of all, the sun, Earth's single source of light and its gravitational center in the universe. Prehistoric Neolithic monuments, appealing to our imagination to date, have been built and measure solstices and equinoxes, leading to the interpretation of these monuments as calendrical or astronomical devices. Other ancient civilizations anchored the sun as the source of all life in their mythology, cultural folklore, and religious existence. Light gives nature all its most amazing and brilliant colors. And it's this same light that activates Mother Earth's lungs and replenishes our atmosphere with fresh oxygen. Some of nature's most wondrous creatures are even able to produce light themselves, to lure and communicate with congeners, or just to fool predators or prey. Other species just follow the whereabouts of the beaming sun during the day. But isn't it amazing? For it seems that light has not yet revealed all its secrets and power. Not that long ago, quantum physics scientists discovered that photons are able to guide us towards a totally new digital era. Running on photons, unimaginable fast and powerful quantum computers will help future generations to solve some of our biggest challenges and explore new, sustainable materials and possibilities. And a quantum internet connecting them all will provide us with an unhackable and secure digital infrastructure. In the port of Rotterdam, we will step into the light of the future, inviting you all to join us on our journey.
So, this movie, the inspiration for this movie actually came from your industry. I'm not a educated person, but the quantum subject is so complex to understand, and for a port, we are running our day-to-day operations out in the open, so to speak, with big ships coming in, etc. And it's very hard to explain what quantum can mean for an industry like a port or the port maritime sector. So I just, wanted to go back to where it all originated from. Quantum is running on photons. Photons is light. Light has guided us, from day one on this planet. So, this is the relationship. But the lesson for you I want to give you is that you have to try to, to tell the story in a better way to customers, potential customers or users like we are. Anyway, that was just the introduction. If you want to become friends, here's your time. Scan my QR code on LinkedIn, and otherwise, I will see you around later. But our port exists from the 14th century. That goes a long way back. And when I started to work at the port, let me skip back just 1 second. When I started to work at the port when I was born, let me explain this. When I was born in 1966, the port of Rotterdam was the biggest port in the world. And when I started to work at the port of Rotterdam in 2000, we weren't anymore. The Chinese port have several Chinese ports had overtaken us already in size and volume, etc. So our mission changed from being the biggest port in becoming the best port. And we established that mission, I think for the 7th or 8th year in a row, the World Economic Forum has granted us the award for being, the most safe port with the best infrastructure, etc. And still being, the best infrastructure port won't bring us where we want to be, because there are several things going on outside the world that our world that influences our mission once again. And now we decided, to change our mission in becoming a smart port. The two main drivers are the energy transition. We didn't invent that. That happens on a global scale. And the other one is the digitization, robotization of processes, also port processes, transport modes, etc. That happens around the globe as well. We are just one of the users of those two. So, in becoming a smart port, innovation plays a key role. And instead of creating a roadmap, we created a waterway, of course, being a port. And we structured our innovation waterway onto a physical layer of a port reference architecture that's displayed on the left side. So it's all going on. Everything is related to shipping cargo. To ship cargo, you need transportation nodes. Those transportation nodes will be running on infrastructure. Will use infrastructure, and if you have you need infrastructure. You need the space to do so. So on the left-hand side, you see our port reference architecture. And on the right-hand side, it displays the time. And we know that we can't do everything at the same time, so we divided our innovation into 3 horizons. And basically, the 2 questions to be answered, whether you're in what horizon you are the readiness of the technology and the readiness to apply this technology in the port. So for Horizon 1, the technology exists, and also there is a use case for the port. The example that I always use is inspection by drones. This is being done already in other sectors. It would be new for the port to do so. So it's innovation, but it's existing innovation applicable tomorrow, as of tomorrow, so to speak. Horizon 2, the technology is available, but we don't know yet a use case. And the biggest example I can give for that is blockchain. We struggle with all kinds of use cases for blockchain, and it doesn't seem to work yet in the port. And for Horizon 3, the technology is not available yet. And we don't know if there will be a use case, but it certainly could be a disruptive, innovative technology that we want to chase as a leader of the port sector, not as a leader of all sectors, but as a leader of the port sector. And that's why I'm standing here, because quantum is identified as one of these technologies that we want to lead in from our perspective. Now, we know that we can't do that on our own. We are a port, we are pretty good in handling ships and cargo, etc., and our infrastructure, but this is a different class. So, there's also a sort of metaphorical horizon in distance far away from Rotterdam. Horizon 1 are pilots or proof of concepts that are being done with Rotterdam partners in our port itself. Horizon 2 is more maybe Dutch or European, and we know for Horizon 3 we have to cross every continent to get our partners with us. Now, if you look at the horizon, we also looked at innovation arenas. We call it arenas or themes. What are the specific themes that will play a role in the future or in the now? Now, this is one of the things that is definitely going to disrupt the port operations, autonomous ships. And even there are barges or vessels, and you can apply it to drones, autonomous drones flying around, autonomous trains leaving the port or coming to the port, or trucks. These autonomous transportation nodes already exist somewhere in the world, and they will enter the port of Rotterdam one day or another. If these autonomous transportation nodes come to a port, they won't communicate with people anymore. They will communicate with smart infrastructure, like a digital twin. They will enter a digital twin, communicate with the digital twin of a quay wall or the digital twin of a road, exchanging information whether they can go ahead or have to wait, or are things safe, or is this location being planned for me or not. So sensors will talk with sensors. If sensors are going to talk with sensors without human interference, we need edge computing. This is basically where 5G, 6G or 7G will enter the port. Sensors talk with sensors. And the funny thing is, running on the edge, the algorithms won't be accessing the internet no more. They will directly exchange their information to one another, running on these algorithms that are installed or pre-installed or printed on these smart sensors. So we need AI to create our algorithms. So for instance, if a ship of the future, an autonomous vessel, will enter the port of Rotterdam, it will communicate with a keywall. And depending on its speed and angle, this keywall will or will not give the order to the boat propeller to start, because otherwise it might hit the fendering and damage the keywall. So, we need to have very, very smart algorithms enabling us to, to receive or to host these autonomous vessels of the future. And of course, if the algorithms are our brains, we need a helmet to protect our brains, because if our brains are damaged in the future, everything falls apart and everything is paralyzed. And the same picture, this is just the digitization or the robotization of the future. If you look at the terminals at the lower part, there are the RWG terminal in Rotterdam. The Rotterdam World Gateway terminal is fully automated. There's not a single person on the site anymore. So it's existing in Rotterdam or somewhere else. And the same applies for the energy transition. If we talk about smart grids or smart storage of energy of the future, or smart production, where do we have to produce, where we have to distribute our energy for transportation or use of cranes or whatever, we will need the same arenas. So these are the arenas we are focusing on, and as mentioned before, quantum is one of them. Now, this was another topic I addressed with Professor Aspect, because I not only graduated with winning the Nobel Prize, but I also thanked him for that, because we published this news article on October 5 of last year, and that was the day after the Nobel Prize was granted. So when people were asking me, what is this quantum technology that you guys are doing? I could just refer to, well, there are 3 people yesterday who won the Nobel Prize for physics for this technology, or the groundbreaking efforts that they did on it. And looking at it, in 2035, the bill of quantum computing, Safeguard IT against quantum computing, has been signed. So we have only 12 years, and if a similar bill is being signed in Europe, the European Parliament, we have only 12 years, to secure our infrastructure. Looking at that infrastructure, our size is 42 kilometers, and we have a lot of assets. We have a lot of infrastructure that in the digital world will need to be protected. And if you look at, how these networks of critical infrastructure, and of course we can debate what is critical infrastructure. In the US, the banking system is critical infrastructure, and the healthcare is critical infrastructure. In Europe, ports and airports are a critical infrastructure. And I have that debate. I'm a guest teacher at the UCL in London for civil engineers, and I have the same debate. What are critical infrastructure networks? Well, for a port, it's quite simple, because a port is just a berthing place for ships. You have to remind that it's about a ship getting to a shore, being safely berthed, so goods can be transported from the water side to the land side, vice versa. That's what a port is, a berthing place for ships. So it's an area where ships can berth. And in that area, there are networks, that are going out of that area, line infrastructure, end-to-end, one-to-N, or one-to-one that stay in the port. There are several networks, multiple networks stacked on one another. It could be gas, it could be electricity, it could be fiber, it could be anything. Cables, of course, waterways, roads. But there might be a point where multiple networks come together. And this is where it's getting interesting. If this white spot over there, where networks come together, if that is being hacked, not our infrastructure, but from third parties, like a gas pipe or a water line, if a water line in a cable will be hacked in the future, the cable will be put out of operation because of the damage of collapsing. Because water pressure dropping might lead or might indicate a leakage. And you don't want that in your cable. So this is why critical infrastructure needs to be protected in the future. And we saw what happened with one ship blocking the Suez Channel. Now, you might know that 85% of all the goods you see around you have been shipped, in a container. The consumer goods. So one ship could block the entire economy. One terminal hacked in Rotterdam laid down almost everything in Rotterdam. So if one critical infrastructure that doesn't belong to us, it might be a gas line, like I said, or a water pipeline, is being hacked, it could, block the whole port. And we saw what happened after Russia invaded Ukraine. We saw the exploding numbers of hacking attacks in our ports. So it's not something that it's not a year to K thing, so to speak. Let me go next. So we're going to do a QKD pilot in the next coming 2 years with our partners to secure several operations. Ingrid mentioned that yesterday also. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to try to do the proof of concept to secure 3 use cases or message types. High frequency messages, for instance, water levels or ships positions. High confidential messages, for instance, container inspection, could be narcotics or weapons inside it. And one use case where we connect multiple users. So this will be, our aim to do so. And I hope that you understand now why a port is entering this era of quantum computing and quantum network. So, yeah, that was my presentation. I'm running 30 seconds out of time, so excuse me for that, but we had a slow start.